Hey, Wire Monkeys, welcome to another episode of Let's Talk Cabling. Today, we're going to talk about one of the two best products I saw at the BICSI Conference.
Welcome to Let's Talk Cabling, the award-winning podcast where knowledge is power and the low voltage industry connects. Hosted by Chuck Bowser, RCDD, we're here to empower installers, designers, and industry pros with the tips, stories, and best practices you need to stay ahead. From copper to fiber, standards to innovation, this is the show that keeps you plugged into success. So grab your tools, turn up the volume, and let's talk cabling.
Welcome to the show where we tackle the tough questions submitted by installers, technicians, project managers, estimators, IT personnel, even customers. We are connecting at the human level so that we can connect the world. If you're watching this show on YouTube, would you mind hitting the subscribe button and that bell button to be notified when new content is being created? If you're listening to us on one of the audio podcast platforms, would you mind leaving us a 5-star rating? Those simple little steps helps us take on the algorithm so we can educate, encourage, and enrich the lives of people in the ICT industry. Wednesday nights, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You know I do a live stream on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and anywhere else that I can figure out how to send this thing out, where you get to ask your favorite, you know that's me, RCDD, questions on installation, certification, design, project management, estimation, even career path questions. But I can hear you now. But Chuck, I'm driving my truck at 6 p.m. on Wednesdays. I don't want to get into an accident. Okay, I record them, and you can watch them at your convenience. And also, while this show is free and will always remain free, would you mind clicking on that QR code right there? You can buy me a cup of coffee. You can even schedule a 15-minute one-on-one call with me, after hours, of course. And I also sell t-shirts on Amazon. So one of the reasons I really love going to the BICSI Conference, the winter BICSI Conference, is because the exhibit hall. The exhibit hall the manufacturers always come out with new products typically during the winter conference. So as we were walking around, you might have noticed Nolan was doing all the interviews for me this year. He came across two products that I think just rocked the world. One was a self-cutting tie wrap, and the other was something new from Softing. Something that really made me wonder, why didn't we have this before? It really makes me start thinking about other testers differently the way when I start seeing this stuff. So I invited them to come on the show to talk about the new stuff. Mr. Tom Jello, welcome back, my friend. How are you doing?
Doing well, Chuck. I'm glad to be on with you.
It's always a pleasure to have you on, my friend. So since it's been a while since you've been on, I can't remember the last time you've been on. I think it's been a year. Gained a few followers, so why don't you go ahead and tell the people listening who you are and who is Softing?
Okay. Softing is a manufacturer of multiple, I guess, product lines. We have an entire division devoted to IT networks test tools. So we've been making certifiers, cable certifiers, for some time now. We also have like an OTDR. We have light source power meters, simple verification tools, wire mappers, visual fault locators, things like that. We have a really nice, complete portfolio. Yeah, the Cable Master 210 right there. That's one of the nice little, very, very simple cable testing tools. So really, it's a nice portfolio. Softing also has an entire other division devoted to developing industrial automation tools and software. So that plays an effect on what we're talking about. We're going to be talking about today as well. So Softing is a pretty diverse company in what we can manufacture and build. That I think that has relevance on what we're going to be talking about today.
It is certainly one of the most well-known names in cable certifiers. I know you're probably in the same groups I'm in on social media, and you always hear techs always ask, "Hey, what's a good certifier?" And Softing is always one of the top three thrown out there. It's a very well-known tester.
Yeah.
And your platform, I don't know if would you want to call it a legacy platform now, the 4500, since you got this new one, or we'll talk about that in a minute. But let's talk about what inspired you to come up with all this new stuff for this new test. We'll talk about the key features in a minute. But how did you figure out? Okay, we really need to put this feature in, we need to put that feature. How did you come to this process to update the testers, certifiers, not testers?
Well, I mean, I guess that starts with what you kind of referred to. Our current certifier right now is the WireXpert 4500, also the 500. That tool has been around for a very long time. As far as like electronics products are concerned, it's unheard of to be on the market as long as this tool has been. As a matter of fact, we were talking about, when this tool will finally go away, which will be for several more years. I made a joke with a coworker that we were doing the math, and we said that tool will be old enough to buy beer by the time it finally rides off the sunset. Okay, which is funny, but it's also true. I mean, that doesn't happen in electronics.
But that's saying a lot for a tester in our industry, though.
It really is. It really is, and I think that it speaks to the forward design of that tool, as well as our company's devotion to keeping it relevant and keeping it updated for what's going on. It's still a very much a viable test tool for a ton of users out there, and will continue to be. It has a simplistic interface. It's also fairly cutting edge because of the dual screen on there. Provides excellent user feedback and allows people to get jobs done faster because they're informed on either side. So that older now tools design is really what fed the design of our new product, which is what we're talking about right now, the WireXpert MP, which would be the successor to it. We try to keep everything that was good from the original WireXpert in its design and essentially make those things even better, keep what we can and improve it. And then we took all the shortcomings from that older certifier and tried to eliminate those outright in the new tool. And then we just did things that people are not doing at all on the market as well. And we'll talk about some of those.
We're going to talk about those.
Okay.
We are definitely going to talk about those because
Yeah.
I really liked some of the stuff you guys did. So do you guys do focus groups? How do you get this information from the field to know, okay, they really want these new options in their certifiers?
Yes, I mean I don't know if I want to call them focus groups, but when you've had a tool this long, we've had multiple revisions of firmware that people and major revisions to the firmware that people say, well, I like this about the user interface. This is confusing. I prefer this. So I wouldn't call it focus groups, but we essentially pay attention to what our users are telling us and what they want. At the same time, we're plugged into standards, the various TIA and ISO globally for the trend in what is happening with cable testing, and you have to make that work as well. There's a lot of things going on. I wouldn't say it would be as simple as a focus group. It's definitely part of it, but as an organization, I'm pretty thrilled to be part of a company that really puts effort into making something that making really good tools that really change the direction of our industry, and I think that's exactly what's happening.
I think the most successful manufacturers are those that listen to their customers, and I'm glad to hear you say that because you're taking the information that the technicians and the project managers are giving back to you, and you're implementing them. So we're going to talk about the key features here in just a second, but so the WireXpert MP, what is MP?
WireXpert MP. MP stands for multi-protocol. Okay, so the device is modular as well. Okay, and essentially it is designed to be able to handle copper, multiple category cables to be able to test to standards, but also coax. We're also going to be dealing with single mode fiber, multi-mode fiber, and that's just what we have right now, or will have at launch, I guess, right? To be able to address the market. Because of its modular build, the possibilities for us to include other media to test or other types of testing are significant, and that is the intent with this device.
Gotcha. So is Is it officially launched now, or is that going to be here real soon?
March. We should have sometime in March. We should have product that is ready to go out the door. We actually already have stock of the device, so it's definitely not far off.
Yeah.
But there's still approvals and a few other things that we have to. I mean, certification testers are, let's say, they're very official in the way that they go to market, and so we are making sure that we, dot all the I's and cross all the T's.
You got to make sure that they're complying with the testing protocol set forth in the ANSI standards and the IEEE standards, and that's just not something you can whip together on a Thursday afternoon. For those who know that.
No. As a matter of fact, I mean, you mentioned it. We've been working on this for several years, and so that's all part of the effort here.
Yeah. I didn't realize that until I started working for a manufacturer. How long it takes to really bring something brand spanking new to a market. Because as a cable installer, I just thought, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. But you're right. It's multiple years sometimes, and sometimes even longer. Just
right.
It is what it is. And for those who are listening to the show, this show is actually airing in March. We're recording it in February, so that's why it may already be out by the time the show hits the streets.
Let's take a short break. Are you looking to grow your low voltage business? At Bowman Vision Media, we don't just market to the low voltage industry. We come from it. With decades of experience, we uniquely understand your business and how to help it grow. From social media to content creation, we deliver marketing that works as hard as you do. And while you're leveling up, check out the 49 Volts podcast, your go-to source for industry insights and expert interviews. Visit bowmanvisionmedia.com to learn more and subscribe to the 49 Volts podcast on YouTube or wherever you listen.
What are some of the key features in the new MP, and what makes it different from all the other testers out there in the market right now?
First and foremost, standards are changing, okay? And so to be a certifier in the year 2025 moving forward, you have to be able to measure differently, okay? So, 568 2E, right? Not D, not C, not B, but E, right? BCDE, requires some additional testing. So there's DC resistance unbalance measurements, okay? There's also TCL, which is transverse. Essentially a crosstalk measurement, or TCL, and ELTC-TL are all part of that 568-2E. So your tester has to be able to do that. Okay. First off, there's also the little thing called single pair Ethernet that's coming down the pike, right? So your tester needs to be able to test those things as well, and WireXpert MP will be able to handle all of those, even the really long single pair Ethernet that they're talking about, testing or links up to 1 kilometer for copper, right? Mm-hmm. So this tool will have the ability to test that as well. Just measurement capability would be the first thing that I would call out as a difference. Beyond that, it's 2025, right? So everybody has a smartphone in their hands, and they're aware of, the speed, the responsiveness of those devices, and I think WireXpert MP has those capabilities. Super fast response time. It has the ability to react to screen gestures and the drag and the swiping and things that people
are already used to doing with their phones already.
That's right. The user interface is significantly improved. We actually did do a study. So I know you mentioned customer focus groups. Beyond just listening to what our customers were asking, Softing actually did a study of the number of button clicks, or at least taps, that you have to make on your certifier to get from start of a job to completion of a job, right? And we tried to minimize those as best as possible, really, really taking efficiency as a main priority in the design of the user interface. And I think we've accomplished that or at least significantly improved it in what we have.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's other things in the device that are really beneficial as well. I mentioned it's modular design.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so one of the realities of certifiers is that you have to get these devices calibrated. Okay, and with the modular design, I'll just grab one right here. So here is the mainframe of a WireXpert MP. Okay,
Is that thinner than the 4500?
It absolutely is. Yes. This is the mainframe, and this is the copper testing module. So they just click into place like so. Okay. But if I need to get a device calibrated, there's no need to send the mainframe off. I can simply take the copper testing module. You can see I've got a category 8 adapter, permanent link adapter in the back of this. But really, the only thing that needs to go back to our labs for calibration is this device right here.
I like that because, what happens quite often is technicians aren't quite so soft and easy on testers, and they tend to bend pins, break things, and stuff like that. And being modular like that, you can easily just disconnect it and snap it back in and rock and roll.
Yes. For large contractors who have multiples of these kits kind of floating around and doing the tasks that they need them to do, that means that they can keep this mainframe in process with all the settings and the user info and the preferences that individual technician has. That can stay in process, and then they just need a different copper testing module to click in and provide that calibrated test result. That will significantly improve their efficiency on a job site. So that's a big change for us as well when it comes to the WireXpert MP.
Those are all great things, but you're missing the big thing for me.
I was teasing you with it.
You were. I'm over here. I'm dancing in my chair. You're like, he's not saying it. He's not saying it. The ability to take pictures on a job site and attach them to the job file. That just absolutely floored me on the BICSI floor.
Yes. It is, so in the test device, let's grab this one here. In the test device, let's see if I can get this on camera. You can see there is a camera, and there's actually also a flash in the top of the tester.
Because TRs are always well lit.
That's right. Well, or you could just use the flashlight for just illuminating the rack when you're trying to dig around in there.
Oh, absolutely.
We have flashlights in a few of our other test tools, and so we've learned the value of that as well. But yeah, I can go into the tester and actually pull up the camera function, and let's see if I can take a photo of Chuck right now. Let's go ahead and capture that. There we go. And we can give our viewers a view of what it looks like kind of backstage.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes with Chuck. There we go. Let's see if we can get that on camera. There we go.
Very cool.
A little blurred out, but
Very
you can
cool.
see that.
That is cool.
Yeah. So, we did a presentation on photo documentation of projects, and I actually asked the crowd at BICSI, I said, how many people currently take photo documentation of your projects using a smartphone or whatever else is out there? And I think probably 95% of the room raised their hand. And then I asked a subsequent question. I said, how many people wish that they take more photo documentation, right? In other words, more photos of the same job site. And again, 95% of the people raised their hand. Okay. The reality is that photo documentation can be used for multiple reasons on a modern job site, whether it's proving what happened before you ever got to the job site, the condition that things were in, showing the amount of slack loop you're using on a cable pull, showing the condition of a patch panel, a miswire,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even position of a cable tray,
Yeah, but so
something
you're talking about all
hazardous.
negative stuff. You could also use it to take a picture of the finished product too, like the
Oh
faceplate
yeah,
stuff. So if the customer tries to call back, says, "Well, you didn't label this," you can easily pull up that record and say, "Look, here's the picture that shows the label."
that's right. That's right. There's it's arguably I think it's a modern reality of the ICT industry, and we've chosen to put it internal of the device. Now, what's fantastic, Certifier is doing a deep test, but it's also documenting the final condition of your cabling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and what better avenue to have alongside all these deep test reports that a certifier performs, have a photo showing, hey, this is the condition that the job site is in when we walked away from this cabling.
Do you know the resolution of the camera? Is it 4K, 1080, 720? What do you know?
That's a good
And if
question.
you don't know,
I'm not sure.
we can put it in the description down below if you don't know off the top of your
Yeah,
head.
we struck a balance there between getting good resolution for
Right.
cabling, right, but also allowing many photos to be loaded
Right.
into a project. Remember also that these photos are going to actually be in the PDF document
Yeah.
that gets printed, right? So you don't want to kill your printer essentially with all that resolution. So it is an excellent documentation tool. It's very sensibly put together with the tool, and I think it's going to be very well received out there in cabling.
Right.
Hey friends, I want to tell you about a great organization, Technology Worldwide, an active community of tech professionals dedicated to elevating our industry and each other. It's the real deal, and I'm grateful to be part of this community. Their annual tech conference is coming up April 23rd and 24th in Nashville, Tennessee, and will feature amazing speakers, workshops, and even BICSI continuing education credits. Stay up to date and lock in your spot now at techfest.org. That's TEKFEST.org. I encourage all my low voltage followers to consider joining to see if they want a seat at TKW's table too. All are welcome to learn, grow, and see what putting community over competition can do. Go to techfest.org for more information.
And I think the other thing that really kind of caught me off guard is your ability to scan QR codes.
Yeah.
You would make Todd happy. You know that, right?
I know, and actually, there were a lot of conversations with Todd that kind of went into a lot of the design considerations that we had. So yeah, absolutely. QR codes, labels on cabling is huge. We think it's going to be big as well. And when you complete a test result, you actually have the option at the bottom of the test result just to save it as it is as a completed test. But you can also either embed a photo, like we just mentioned, from that test or from the tester into the actual tested cable. But I can also scan a QR code, and whatever information is in that QR code on the cable will get embedded into the label that you just tested as well. In other words, I don't have to press any buttons. I don't have to say patch panel 3 port 1. It will just get dropped right into the label right there with a WireXpert MP.
Yeah, I have a feeling QR codes are going to keep coming on and getting stronger and more and used more often and stuff because there's a lot of information. If you ever look at the ANSI administration standard and you look at the amount of stuff that it wants us to put over a port, QR code just becomes the sensible choice at that point because almost any phone will scan a QR code and tell you all the information you need to know. And another feature too that you're teasing me. You're teasing me now.
Yeah.
Is the amount of time it takes to take a test.
Yes, and we haven't even. I don't think we're even where we want to be yet on this device. Okay, but the amount of resources that we have internal are significant, and so our test time our test time is going to be fantastic. So you probably saw testing on the floor, and I don't know if you had your stopwatch out there. I'm not ready to give a number yet, but it's going to be something to be proud of as a manufacturer.
But it's going to be well below pretty much most of the other testers.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't realize that they don't really think about the impact of that. They just think, oh, it's going to be it's going to be less time.
Yeah.
Time is money, and when you're testing a bunch of jacks, if your tester that you have now takes 3 times as long, that makes your job more expensive than somebody else's job.
Yeah, let me air some of the internal discussions that our international softing team has been having. Actual time of test is important. Okay, we don't want to downplay that. We think that that's relevant. It would be great if we have a test time that is super fast, and we will, right? But we didn't want to stop at that. Really, the actual time of auto test is a small portion of what you're actually doing on a job site. We're talking about the actual time to take the device out of the case and boot it up, and to connect the test cords, and to connect into the patch cord and set the project up, and to set the cable up, choose the limit, right? Do the test. Then you got to save the test. Then you got to get the report out. All of that stuff, because of the nature of marketing and the way that people and social media and companies have it, whatever, gets kind of glossed over in this space.
Oh, absolutely. And technicians are, you would think, and I've said this on many occasions, you would think that cable technicians nowadays, especially being raised up around computers, would be, they'd be typing at like 170 words a minute. But every time I teach a class and I have technicians signing in, they're doing the 2-finger tap on the computer. I'm like, wait a minute, you're in the ICT industry. So yeah, I could certainly understand how wanting to make the tester set up faster be less of a headache for a technician. Because let's be honest, the project managers, the company owners, the ones who pay for the testers, but they go to their technicians and say, hey, do you think this is a good tester? Do you think this is going to impact you? And you got to make their job easier.
Yes. I think in the end we may even have some efficiency studies that we can share and kind of put out there for people who really want to get kind of nerdy in this space and understand what's going on. But really, we think the device will kind of speak for itself when you actually put it in your hands and use it to work a job. We think that it will be noticeable on how quickly you can do it. So, yeah, we're very excited about all of that and the way that this tool is trending right now, for sure.
Yeah, like I said, I definitely think it's one of the 2 best products I saw at the Winter Conference. So the ability to download reports and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I know the 4500 kicked out a PRX file, if I remember right.
Yeah.
And you had software for it as well. Does this download into that software as well?
Yes. So we're going to do a few different things there. First off, we will have reporting software that's available for you to kind of cultivate your test reports and edit them, and you can change labels and do all those kind of things PC based. It will be a newer version of what people are currently seeing with the software. So in other words,
that makes sense. New test or new software for it. That makes absolute sense.
Yes. So it's not going to be the same in that aspect.
Especially because now you're testing DCRU and the other new tests are specified in the standards as well. So you need to be able to modify the report to capture that information.
Yes. So there will be new software to be able to house these test results. But we're also, the device just has a lot more capabilities. So we actually embedded a PDF viewer in the device, okay? Mm-hmm. And so you can essentially create an entire test report in the tester and view that information on the device.
Oh, that's nice.
That's a big deal, because that allows a field technician to go in and see what their finished sum of work is going to be, and that is the result, or the report. So you'll be able to view that.
Let me ask you this: if let's say you got a technician doing a small 10 cable job somewhere, and they test their 10 cables with the new MP, is there some cloud-based solution or mobile app solution where they can immediately just send those test results right straight to the customer?
The answer is going to be yes.
Okay.
Yes. So you'll see the device has a user's manager interface, and this is really, I don't know how much you saw on the BICSI floor.
I didn't get. I literally saw you for like, I think maybe a total of like 90 seconds. I feel bad, but I was busy in a chicken with his head cut off.
It's okay. It's a crazy time, especially for manufacturers on the floor. But there's a user's manager interface on WireXpert MP, and I can create a user profile, and I can go in and give my email, Tom Jallo at softing.com or Acme Cabling Company, whatever it is, and then I would designate myself as a role, either as a technician or as a manager. I can actually even apply permissions to that role. So as a manager, I get all the permissions. As a technician, some of those things may be turned off, like the ability to change from category 6 to 6A, or vice versa. Like, or I could go in and say, okay, I can't erase data. Think about that. All the project managers out there.
That's an absolutely good one right there.
Yeah, we project managers. I'll say it again really slow for the people in the back. You can have the ability to stop technicians from actually deleting your test data, right? So that's the type of things that we're adding in this user's interface, okay, or user manager interface. Now, each one of those users are going to be attached. There's going to be an email address, okay, and you can see where that is going with the, I guess, direction of the tool and what you're asking about for data management.
Gotcha. The software that's coming that's going to be supporting this, is that going to be released at the same time as the tester?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool. So if somebody wants to learn more about your new tester, or maybe they want to see someone actually demo it, how do they get in touch with Softing or you to do that?
Yeah, so I mean, technically, if you want to talk about, I guess, define what we did as a manufacturer at BICSI, I would say it was a reveal, not necessarily a full launch. Okay, as we get closer to March, more of these things will start hitting out there. We're going to have pricing that's going to come out. I'll say this too. Everybody's wondering about the price. I think pricing will be very surprising to people. Very, very surprising to people. Okay, so we'll say that.
Yeah, since you said you hadn't officially launched it yet, or won't launch it until March, I kind of stayed away from the pricing question because I figured you're probably still figuring that out. What the
I mean, there's a little bit to figure out, but I mean, I think we know what direction is going from the entire philosophy of the design. So that's been something that intent was clear a long time ago. So now it's just a matter of working out all the zeros and pennies involved.
You get all the bean counters involved in that conversation. Everything slows down to a halt.
Well beyond my pay grade, right?
Hey, I get you. I understand that,
Yeah.
and I feel your pain. I feel your pain.
Yeah.
Well, congratulations on coming out with a great product. And I have a feeling this thing's going to take over the marketplace. I really do. Just the fact that you can take pictures and associate them with an actual test result is it's mind-boggling. And just like I told Nolan when he interviewed you, I was like, why didn't we have this before?
Yeah. There's more coming too. I got to say, with all the stuff that you saw, Chuck, there is actually more coming that nobody has seen yet.
Now you're teasing me again. You got to stop that stuff now.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Well, if I predict the future, we'll be on this podcast in a few months talking about new things that are coming on this platform and new ways of doing testing on this platform that people have not seen before.
Nice. I'm all about making a technician's job easier or a project manager's job easier. All about that, 100%. I appreciate you coming on today, Tom. Take care, my friend.
Absolutely, Chuck. Great talking to you.
Thanks for listening to Let's Talk Cabling, the award-winning podcast where knowledge is power and the low-voltage industry connects. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your crew. Got questions or ideas for the show? Chuck wants to hear from you. Stay connected, stay informed, and always aim for excellence. Until next time, keep those cables clean, your standards high, and your future bright. Let's talk cabling, empowering the industry one connection at a time.